The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to the festival custom. After they had completed its days, as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances, but not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished, and his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. The Gospel of the Lord. We've been in continuous praise since yesterday. If you were at the morning mass on Friday, we had adoration all throughout the whole day. And then we ended last night. There was a mass here at 11:45 p.m. And the mass, of course, overlapped the midnight hour, precisely overflowing to today, as we celebrate now the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Yesterday was the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And the two hearts, as we see here in this beautiful graphic of Mary and Jesus, of their hearts. And the reason why these two feast days are paired is because notice the hearts of Jesus and Mary. They are both inflamed. They are both united. They are both one in communion. Hence the pairing of the two feast days. This shouldn't surprise us, though. You parents in here know this about your children, don't you? That you share with your children the joys and the beauty of life together. Their accomplishments are your accomplishments. Just like today, after Mass, I have to head over to Dixon and they have their graduation ceremony for the kids at the Valley of the Sacred Heart School. And every single parent in there will be proud of their kids, of course. And then today, this morning, we have a packed day of activities here at the parish. We'll begin after Mass, baptism. 11 babies will be baptized today. And the parents of those baptized kids will overflow with joy as the water is poured over their heads. And then directly after the baptism, we have a quinceañera. And those parents of that quinceañera will be extremely joyful that their 15-year-old girl now is becoming a young lady. And then directly after the quinceañera, we'll have a wedding. And those parents of the bride and groom will be extremely joyful when they see their children here. Because as we know, the joys of our children as parents are our joy and happiness. But as parents, you know, you also share their sorrow. When their hearts are broken, your heart is broken too. The hearts of Mary and Jesus are both wounded. They're both in pain. In the gospel today, when Jesus is, the famous story of Jesus is lost in Jerusalem, and they find him in the temple. So Jesus is 12 years old here. Harken back to probably a decade before this moment when Mary and Joseph bring Jesus to the temple to present him, as is the custom of the Jewish people, to go to Jerusalem, bring their newborn baby. in a joyful moment, here's my baby, God, thank you, and give praise to God for that child. Do you remember what was prophesied about Mary? It says, Mary, your heart will be pierced because of this child. Meaning, you will unite your pain with your son. And she didn't quite understand what that meant at that time. But she will eventually know. You see, as Christians, what we're called to do is to follow the path of our Lord. And that is to unite ourselves to Jesus. And part of that unity of our Lord is what he underwent. To love Jesus is to also experience suffering. But we know, and the beautiful part about our faith is that we know the suffering that we endure here in life will always pale in comparison to the joy that we will receive because of our obedience and fidelity to her Son. Mary never left the side of Jesus. She never abandoned him. She united her will to his. And that, my friends, why, if you notice both hearts, they're also on fire. It's the fire of love. We are called to unite now our hearts and to conform to the Sacred Heart of our Lord, to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And then we'll experience both of their joy.